As many as 1 out of every 10 customers who wants to buy from you is getting their card declined right now. Not because they're broke, not because they're fraudsters, because you don't have the right systems in place, and every single one of those failed transactions is money you're potentially literally watching disappear. Look, I run an e-commerce store, and I consult with dozens of UltraCart merchants as well. And I see this happening every single day. You're spending more on ads than ever, competition's brutal, and when someone finally clicks through and tries to buy and their card gets declined because of a temporary hold or they're waiting on their paycheck to clear, these aren't tire kickers. These are real customers who want your product and they're gone. Here's what's actually happening. You pay 30, 40, maybe 50 bucks to get someone to your checkout page. They fill out their entire order form. They want what you're selling and they hit submit. Their card's declined. Now here's the thing. That customer, maybe they just got gas this morning and their bank put a temporary hold. Or they just bought groceries yesterday and their account's sitting at 47 bucks, but your product's 49 and their paycheck hits tomorrow. These are the best customers. They have intent. They took action. They're not browsing. They tried to buy. But what happens? They see that red error message. They feel embarrassed. They feel frustrated. And here's what you need to understand about human psychology. They don't think it's a temporary thing. They think it's a rejection. So what do? They close the browser. They move on. They forget about you. And you just burned that ad spend for nothing. And it gets worse because you're not talking about 1 or 2 transactions here. You're doing the kind of volume. This happens dozens, maybe hundreds of times a month. Let's say you're doing 1,000 transactions monthly. That's 100 potential customers who wanted to buy but couldn't. 100 people you paid to acquire. 100 orders that should have closed. Here's what really keeps me up at night. Most merchants don't even know this is happening. They see a declined transaction. They shrug it off. Bad card. Move on. But that's not a reality. That's leaving real money on the table. So here's what changed everything for me. There's a feature inside UltraCart called Accounts Receivable Retry. And when it's set up, it becomes your silent sales team, working 24/7. Here's how it works. When a card declines, instead of just giving up, the system automatically retries that transaction. Not immediately, that would just fail again, but intelligently. It waits and tries again the next day. And then maybe the day after that, then a few days later. This is totally configurable, so you can see what's working best for your business. So when that temporary hold clears or that customer's paycheck hits, the customer doesn't have to do anything. The transaction just goes through. They don't have to re-enter their information. It just works. And after all the retries that you've configured are exhausted, the customer gets an email saying, unfortunately, their payment was unable to be processed. They get a link to go back to your site and they can enter new information. Now here's the critical part. Most people enable this feature and think they're done. That's wrong. You need to configure it properly or you're wasting your time. First, you set your retry schedule. We recommend starting with a retry after 24 hours, then 48 hours, then perhaps another one at 72 hours. Why? Because most temporary holds clear within a day. Paychecks hit, funds become available. You can even add a coupon code to trigger on one of those later days to reduce the price slightly. The system also works with rebills. So those rebills can be tried a couple of times. Second, this is where people mess up. You need to test this. Remember, with credit cards, every time you try the card, there's a fee, 25 or 30 cents. You have to balance that against the percentage of transactions that do go through and make sure this works for your business. So here's what happens when you get this right. Up to 40% of those declined transactions get recovered. I'll put that in real numbers for you. If you're losing 100 transactions a month that declines, you just recovered 40 of them. If your average order value is $75, that's $3,000 per month that you were just leaving on the table. $36,000 a year from customers who already tried to buy from you. You didn't pay for new traffic. You didn't increase your ad spend. You didn't just hire a new sales team. You just stopped letting money slip through your fingers. And here's the beautiful part. Those customers have higher lifetime value. Why? Because they already jumped through hoops to buy from you. When that retry goes through and they get their product, they're more invested. They're more likely to buy again. Before this, you had a leaky bucket. Customers trying to buy and failing, disappearing forever. After this, you've got a virtual sales team that catches some of those. A safety net that turns failed transactions into revenue. Your return on ad spend improves, your actual revenue increases, and you didn't spend another dollar on acquisition. And you sleep better knowing you're not bleeding money from real customers that really want to purchase from you. Look, setting this up correctly can be tricky. There's nuances to it. There's settings you need to optimize for your specific business. And honestly, most merchants get it wrong the first time. That's exactly why we created the free UltraCart School community. Inside, you've got direct access to me and hundreds of other successful UltraCart merchants who've already figured this stuff out. You can ask questions, get your configuration reviewed, and run strategies that are actually working right now in real businesses. There's no charge for this. There's no upsell. It's just a community of people trying to win at e-commerce. Head to school.com/UltraCart and join us today. Stop leaving money on the table. I'll see you inside.